Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they are back with a Nilah updated complete guide, and this one's for Nilah ADC. Now I will be covering a Nilah jungle, like lethality focused build eventually, if I get autofill jungle and such. I'm not really going to queue jungle on purpose, but today we're going to cover Nilah ADC. So now, you guys saw from my tier list, I don't rate Nilah ADC too highly. I put her like in the A tier, and I really don't think she's that good in ADC rules, simply due to the fact that her matchups are pretty horrible. Majority of ADCs are able to bully her if you play properly, and she has really weak lane. But anyways, she can still be really strong when you reach like full build, and not even full build, but like 4 items, 3 items, she can be really strong. So we're gonna jump into talking about her loadout. But before that, of course, don't forget to take a look at the basic guide I made for her skills, living order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But now, without further ado, let's jump into the items. So first item you're going to want to get is going to be the Gluttonous Greaves. So Gluttonous Greaves, of course, gives you a huge amount of AD, gives you the Omni Vamp as well. Pretty much no other boot option here. You could go for the attack speed boots, but that's a waste because you get almost no AD from that. Then you go for the Bloodthirster as your first item, and this of course gives you the huge amount of AD, huge amount of physical vamp, and of course also the extra AD and attack speed when you're high on health, into your IE, for again another 55 AD and increased crit damage. So huge 3 item power spike here with a lot of AD. Then we of course go into the armor pen item, the Maul Reminder, for the armor pen, as well as the Grievous Wounds. And then we go for Shield Bow here. So Shield Bow of course gives us that shield, because now we're at 100% crit, so this is going to give us a huge shield, together with once again even more physical vamp and other nice stats. So small thing to mention here is Collector. So Collector is an item that a lot of Nilahs like to build as like a first or second item. Now I will say, if you are snowballing, aka you've got a kill or two, you can opt into Collector, but personally I just prefer not to go for Collector if I'm not playing Nilah in the jungle, because I feel that it's better to just get these more reliable items, and this item build is a lot more reliable. As Collector is kind of relying a lot more on you snowballing early, because the item kind of falls off late because armor penetration is not very good in later parts of the game. So I don't really like to go for Collector. And for my last item, of course, you have the standard option. You have, of course, your GA, you have your crown. You can go for Death's Dance because Nilah is a melee champion, so this is going to allow you to, of course, get the full effect here. Twin Guard as well makes you tanky against both resistances, and again, you're a melee champion, so you're gonna be in the thick of it, so Twin Guard could be very helpful. And the last thing I'm gonna point out is I think Spirit Visage is going to be a lot better than Maw of Mormortius, and the reason for this is Maw of course gives you a damage shield and gives you 55 AD, which is huge, but honestly I think for Nilah, by the time you get to 4 items, you have more than enough damage. You don't need that 55 AD, but what you rather have is that survivability with the Spirit Visage, because it gives you 350 health and it increases your healing and shielding effects by 30%. Of course you get healing and shielding from your passive, from Gluttonous Greaves, from Bloodthirster, also from Shield Bow, so this is gonna make it so much harder to kill her, especially when she's against a magic heavy team. Okay, so for the runes, pretty straightforward. It's going to be Conquer. Of course, Conquer, you're a melee champion, which is going to give you more bonus Omni Vamp, and of course the stacking AD. Pretty much no other option here. Of course, you go for Brutal because you auto attack a lot, and this is going to help you out quite a bit. Giant Slayer, against tanky targets, helps you to pretty much just shred them down. Or Last Stand could also work because you can drop low quite a bit, because again, you're melee, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. And lastly, I like to go for Alacrity here because we have a lot of Omni Vamp like already in our build, whereas we have no attack speed in our build at all. Of course, you do get attack speed from your Q passive, I believe, but of course, getting more attack speed is always going to be helpful. And most of the time, you're going to have no choice but to take Second Wind as your secondary minor rune, because simply because of the fact that you get poked out a lot in lane and you take a lot of damage. Getting this extra healing from Second Wind is pretty much essential. But if you can't afford to go for it, you can of course go for Sudden Impact as well, because this is going to give you a lot of damage with 13 penetration, but most of the time you won't have that luxury. You have to go for Second Wind. And for the spells, pretty obvious. It's going to be Flash, it's going to be Exhaust. Of course, you're always going to be in exhaust range because you're melee, so it's always going to be good. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into talking about our gameplay. Okay, so now hopping into the gameplay, of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will, of course, be sure to address them. Okay, so this match, we're back into the thick of it in solo queue with a Soraka support, which is pretty good for Nilah. Nilah works with both enchanters and engagers, but overall, personally, from what I've observed playing Nilah in the bot lane, I kind of prefer enchanters because I think them like shielding you, healing you, and protecting you is a little bit more impactful than an engager helping you to engage. Because early game, of course, engage you can get a good all-in. It is possible, but what you really want is for them to protect you until you kind of reach later on in the game. So personally, I prefer to play with enchanters. Like here, Kai'Sa kind of trolling, decides to go for an all-in. We exhaust each other, and you can see here that Nilah does a lot of damage. So we basically just smack her around. Like basically, Nilah is balanced just based off the fact that she's melee. So she does a lot of damage, but the issue is that she can't reach you. So the fact that Kai'Sa got into my melee attack range basically meant that she automatically just lost the fight. Because, as I said, you do a lot of damage because you're melee. So the main way they balance it is you have to get to reach the enemy ADC who's ranged. So if you can reach them, you're gonna outdamage them. And since, you know, she basically allowed me to reach her, I basically just destroyed her, and we both just exhausted each other, which, you know, basically balanced it out. So she basically just dies for it. So here, Kai'Sa is actually a pretty good lane matchup in for Nilah, because Kai'Sa in the early lane cannot really do very much. Like unless you make a mistake and step out of your minions and take an isolated Q. If not, Kai'Sa's Q won't really do very much damage to you, and in terms of her auto attack, she won't really be able to burst you down unless you know you do something like that. So here you can see I'm popping my W to make sure she can't pop her stacks, and her stacks expired and it went back to 1 stack, which is another reason why Kai'Sa is not too good into Nilah, which is the fact that when you're trying to stack up your plasma, the Nilah can pop the W and you can't proc your passive, which is a lot of your damage in the early game. Although, you know, I took a pretty bad trade overall because I did end up letting her proc the passive the second time, so that was not too good. Now here Soraka is backing. Alright, got a notification there, sorry about that. So Soraka was backing, and here there's a big chase. Aatrox is here, Master Yi is here, Lucian's coming down, Seraphine's here as well. It's kind of a huge party in the bot lane, but nothing in the end really happens. Like a fight doesn't really fully break out, so we're just going to clear these minions up, and then we are going to recall. So Kai'Sa recalls as well. So wave is neutral in the middle, so when we get back to the lane, it's going to be in the same state as what it is now, which is both waves just crash in the middle, which is fine for me. As long as the wave is not frozen outside the enemy tower, I'm fine. Because obviously as Nilah, if the wave is frozen outside the enemy tower, you're going to be in trouble, because it's really difficult for you to force the wave in. And Soraka actually relics the cannon, which is going to cause the wave to push toward them. So we're slow building a wave here, so basically if we find a fight here, that would be pretty good because we have a huge minion advantage. But you know, if the next wave comes and it gets frozen outside, that's going to be pretty bad, which looks like it's kind of on its way to happening. Thankfully though, Kai'Sa foolishly spam clears the wave, so we won't have this problem of the wave getting frozen outside. Here Seraphine is on the roam again. This Lucian is not really pinging at all. Here Master Yi face checks into Aatrox, gets CC'd, and here we're basically just bursting him down. One last auto to pick up the kill onto him, and we ult the Kai'Sa back towards us. Kai'Sa tries to ult away. I'm pretty low, so I'm just going to walk away and let my team pretty much just finish the job. Aatrox goes in and gets the kill onto Kai'Sa. In this match, I actually took Triumph by accident instead of taking Brutal, so I do get the Triumph proc there. And I'm just able to back and finish out my Vamp Scepter, so already a good amount of AD and Vamp going into the build in the earlier stages of the game, which is obviously always going to be helpful. Kai'Sa has also delayed her build by going for a Executioner's Calling as the first item, and I don't think you should ever do this as Kai'Sa, because this delays not just your first item but also your first evolution. So speaking of the frozen wave, it's kind of stuck outside the tower now, so here you can see I'm trying to force it in before Kai'Sa gets here, and I'm more or less able to crash the first couple of minions. Good silence by Soraka to basically allow me to you know, get enough pressure to pretty much just crash the wave, which we do manage to do, and after that we can just run back to our tower because we don't want to put ourselves in that, you know, kind of compromising position. So here Kai'Sa gets rooted again. We go in with the combo. We're popping the W to basically ensure she doesn't do any damage to us. So even though we can't really kill her there, we get a really fast and free trade. We're still at full health, of course partly due to Soraka healing as well. But we basically just get a free trade there where we basically just bursted her to like half health and we didn't really take any damage in return. Here again we're just poking a little bit with our Q. And yeah, Soraka healing coming in. Soraka is pretty much my favorite champion to play Nilah with because basically whenever you get poked you can just get healed up. Here I tried to finish off the kill, but barrier plus I think that was like Yumi's shield or something like that. I don't know, it's barrier plus Kai'Sa ult is able to actually pretty much just block my ult damage and pretty much just save her. So she has no choice but to back, which actually allows me to push out the wave. So because of that, I can actually get a plate, and this is a pretty atypical Nilah game because normally laning phase is kind of where you're getting smacked around, and you really don't normally have chances to take plates or to even like score kills in the early game. But you know, simply just because of the fact that you know it's Kai'Sa and Yumi can't really do that much, so we actually managed to get a pretty favorable early game. So here I was actually thinking of backing, but since Kai'Sa was hard pushing the wave so much, we can actually just kind of stick around and just try to grab the wave. So Seraphine comes in off the roam. Not too much she can do unless she hits her ult onto both of us under tower. He gets rooted, tanks a tower shot and has to flash away, which is pretty funny. So basically she's come here and she hasn't really gotten anything done. They are shoving in the wave again, but here I'm just gonna once again just clear out the wave. No big deal, and yeah. So we just stick around just a little bit longer just to collect a couple more waves. Aatrox comes over, nothing too much happens of it, and now we can finally recall to of course complete our Bloodthirster. So here, first item power spike is being hit all across my team. My team is super duper fed. We have a 3-0-2 Set and Aatrox both at first item as well. And I'm of course 2-0-1, Lucian is 1-0-2, and we both have Bloodthirster. So my team is really far in the lead. We're actually 7k gold ahead at 7 minutes. So we're in a very dominating position against the enemy team. We're winning all across the map. This is the kind of game that you love to be in. Of course when you're on the winning side, not when you're on the losing side. But yeah. So here, once again, we've pushed in. Kai'Sa has actually gone to the top lane. So here, we're just basically just grabbing all of the plates from the tower because there's no one to stop us, literally. And they are making a play and they are getting a kill onto Lucian, which who doesn't have a shutdown, whereas Aatrox and Set does. And speaking of which, Set ends up dying right after Lucian, so they did get Set's shutdown. So now because we can still see like 4 of them on the top side, we were intending to push in, but because we see Twitch now, we decide to eventually just retreat because we don't really want to overcome it onto Twitch outside of his tower. Now of course from the replay tool you can see he doesn't actually have flash and barrier, so there is a possibility a play could have been made here because me and Soraka still had ulti and sums. But of course in the game itself we didn't actually know that, so we didn't want to take any kind of unnecessary risks. So here we got our BF sword completed, of course building toward IE. Now here I was debating whether to rotate or not to the play. I didn't want to walk through here because Kai'Sa and Yumi was last seen walking toward this direction. So I didn't want to run into them 1v2 because I don't think I win against Kai'Sa and Yumi 1v2, especially when Kai'Sa has the anti-heal. So eventually I decided to just go for the wave, but the fight becomes so extended that Kai'Sa and Yumi are stuck in a fight once again, and Master Yi is now in the action as well. So even though I rotate like 10 seconds late, I basically still reach the fight, and I'm still in time to finish the kill on Master Yi. Set ends up picking up the kill onto Yumi, and pretty much happy days for me and my team. In the meanwhile, Twitch is able to get a tower together with the corresponding objective bounty, but not too much we can do to avoid that as we're making a play on the opposite side of the map. So eventually it's kind of a trade. Enemy team not doing too hot. 0-4 Twitch, 1-5 Master Yi. And ironically, Kai'Sa's probably doing the best in terms of gold item wise and everything. She started off with a magnetic blaster, which is kind of troll. Here, I'm able to double dash and pick up the kill onto the Seraphine off of Aatrox's hard work. And here blue buff is up. I think Soraka's the best person to take the blue buff, so we're pretty much just letting her take the blue buff so she can spam her healing. And next dragon is coming up, and obviously since you're the team that's ahead, you never want the enemy team to get anything, so we're just gonna remove the dragon off of the map as soon as it comes up. Of course, you can see the enemy team whack the vision. They can see us doing it, but what can they really do about it? If they come anywhere near, we can simply just kill them, and it's not worth dying over a dragon, so they wisely choose not to pop on over. So here we're kind of having the issue of like nothing much is happening. But basically, we've taken the dragon off the map. The enemy team didn't come to contest. There's nothing to really fight over. And in theory, the enemy team doesn't really have any incentive to come anywhere near us, especially because they're literally losing all across the board. So it kind of looks like it's going to be a situation where we're just going to have to wait until like Baron or something comes up, and then we can finally contest against the enemy team and force them to fight us. But for now, it's just really boring. Basically, it's just everybody on my team just trying to find farm somewhere, and of course at the same time trying not to make a mistake and not get caught by the enemy team. So I didn't notice this in the match, but Seraphine actually bought the support item as well, and she's actually building support. She has Harmonic Echo, so this basically means that Yuumi and Seraphine are both not gonna actually get the gold because they both have support items, so they can't actually proc the support item, which is pretty funny. Anyways, here we finish off the kill onto the Kai'Sa. Lucian chases in for Yuumi, whereas we go for the other side of the fight with the Master Yi on it. We finish him off. I'm taking a lot of damage from Twitch, so I'm gonna have to flash out. Soraka is here for the healing, so now I'm back to a healthy state. Aatrox decides to chase all the way in. Instead, I'm gonna decide to just pick up these free minions that are kind of crashing into our wave, able to get the last hit onto all of them. And here my team is really deep in, trying to you know, have some fun. So here I'm pinging to attack the tower. I'm gonna try to push the minion wave in, and we can grab a mid lane tier 2 tower for all of our efforts. Unfortunately, Kai'Sa is here to defend, and our minion wave is kind of evaporating, so no tier 2 tower for us. In the meantime, we find the enemy jungle, so we are gonna just deny some enemy jungle camps from the enemy. Master Yi just runs straight on in without even knowing who is there. We honestly could have just went on him like as the three of us, and he probably would have died. But you know, we decided not to in the end. So here we already have a completion of the IE, and now of course go for the anti-heal because we have both Seraphine as well as Yuumi on the enemy team. Both have quite a decent amount of healing, so getting the anti-heal item pretty important in this particular match. And on my team, pretty much only Soraka has the anti-heal item other than myself, which is kind of questionable because Soraka doesn't apply anti-heal so well. Probably should be like Lucian or Set picking up anti-heal as well, which they have not done just yet. So here, as I mentioned, Baron has spawned, so we're basically just going to force the Baron because we're so much stronger. We're like nearly 10k gold up on the enemy team. Seraphine hits a 5-man ult, but it literally does nothing, which is pretty tragic. Like 5-man ult into no follow-up at all, nothing, and we just pick up a free Baron, and we're just going to go ahead and push down the mid lane with the Baron buff, of course. Set clearing out our wave in the meanwhile in the top lane. And here we're just going to secure this mid lane tower. Unfortunately, the other two side waves are kind of more towards our side, so nothing much can be done here. But here we should be retreating. You can see here the Nilah countering Twitch. Twitch did no damage to me there because he could not stack on me at all. So in this particular game, Nilah really counters a lot of champions. It counters Kai'Sa's passive. It counters Twitch passive, which then technically also counters Twitch E. And then, of course, it also counters Master Yi's Q, because Master Yi's Q counts as a basic attack. So if he Qs you, you can W, and he's going to do no damage with his Q. And of course, it just counters Master Yi in general, because Master Yi is also an auto attacker, same as Twitch and Kai'Sa. So pretty high value W game here in this particular matchup. So here my team is fighting. I'm just dashing through the minions to get myself closer, see if I can help out. But of course, because I'm melee, it's a little bit difficult to get into it. Don't really want to flash into the enemy team unless, of course, we can get like a 5-man ult or something like that. Here Master Yi is recalling. The last dragon is coming out. The fact that Master Yi recall basically means that this dragon is for free because we have enough damage to burst it down before he can run from his base to this dragon. So here we get the Infernal Dragon Soul again think we just got this in one of our last few videos. And ready to rock and roll. So here I get a nice KS by doing my EQ. And we're just gonna push in, and here I'm trying to ping to push in the bomb lane, because obviously we have a wave there, or we had a wave there before Master Yi cleared it. And now we've pushed in the wave. We're kind of just waiting for the next wave to come. Of course, we missed out like a minion, so our wave is slightly delayed by the minion, but it's on the way. And in the meanwhile, we're just gonna deny the enemy jungle camps again, making sure to pick up this Gromp. Now here Master Yi, you can see him in mid lane. Our next wave is here, so is the next enemy wave. Here I'm trying to get this tower. I know that he's coming, but I have Soraka. We both of us, no problem against Master Yi. We're gonna hide in this bush and recall, but we see him coming in. I pop the W, so he does 0 damage with his Q, and we're able to basically just kill him. Twitch realizes that he's in trouble, and he decides to just dash out. Soraka gets a little bit slowed down by the Seraphine spells and panic ults. Don't really think that needed to happen, but it's alright. So here I basically chose to go for Shield Bow instead of going for the Maul Reminder, simply because there really isn't any like armor on the enemy team because they're all squishy, so I decided to just purely go for the Executioner's Calling part, and I can finish up my Maul Reminder later. Now in hindsight, I should have went for the Maul Reminder completion here because of course Nilah's Q and her healing and her attack speed all scale with crit, so I was thinking of going for some armor item because there's a lot of AD on the enemy team. But that was, I mean, I wasn't even able to buy anything after this point, as you guys can see based on how much the length of the video left, but it's still a mistake that I still should not have done, so just wanted to point it out. So here of course we're back to doing the Baron. And of course the enemy team can't really do anything to stop us. We are like 10k gold ahead of them now, and should be a pretty free win as long as we don't throw the game. Aatrox ulting in on Master Yi, and Soraka has the crown completion to stay alive. Here I'm able to finish the job on Master Yi, exhaust the Kai'Sa, pull her back in. Yuumi is unable to reattach because she got CC'd. We're able to finish off 3 of the kills. Unfortunately Kai'Sa was killed by Aatrox, and last one standing is the Seraphine, who is pretty much just standing near her base, and we can't really kill her, so we do end up ending the game there. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.